The message arrived on a Tuesday just after lunch. It came without warning, breaking through every communication channel on Earth at once. Captain Hana Kim was drinking coffee when the screens in Earth's Space Command Center flickered. She dropped her cup, the black liquid splashing across the floor as the alien face appeared. "What's happening?" she asked, her voice steady despite her racing heart. The technicians scrambled at their stations. "It's broadcasting everywhere, Captain. Every screen on Earth." The alien on screen had skin that seemed to shift colors like oil on water. It stood very tall, with a long neck and large, dark eyes that didn't blink. "I am Ambassador Lee of the Galactic Consortium," it said in perfect English. "We have watched your planet for many cycles. The time has come for evaluation." The room grew quiet. Only the beeping of monitors broke the silence. "Evaluation?" Hana whispered. The alien continued. "Judge Tay will arrive in 7 days. He will determine if humans deserve to join the galactic community, or if you must remain isolated. Prepare your defense." Then the transmission ended. For several seconds, no one moved. Then every phone in the building rang at once. "Get me the president," Hana ordered, already moving toward the main conference room. The next days passed in a blur. Leaders from around the world gathered. Some wanted to prepare weapons. Others suggested hiding. A few even celebrated. "We should welcome them," said Dr. Song, a famous scientist. "This could be our greatest moment, or our last," General Baek countered, his face grim. Lieutenant June Park, Hana's most trusted officer, worked day and night gathering information about human achievements. "If we're on trial, we need to show our best side," he said, eyes red, from lack of sleep. Hana barely slept. As the highest-ranking officer in Space Command, she had been chosen to represent humanity. The weight of this responsibility kept her awake at night. "Why me?" she asked June during a rare quiet moment. He smiled slightly. "Because you see the good in people, but you're not blind to our flaws. Who better?" On the 6th day, Hana stood before a mirror, straightening her decorated uniform. Medals for bravery, scientific achievement, and humanitarian work lined her chest. She had earned each one, though today they felt heavy. Her phone rang. It was her mother. "I'm scared," her mother admitted. "Me too," Hana replied. "But we've faced hard things before." "Your father would be proud," her mother said softly. Hana's father had been an astronaut who died during an early Mars mission. He had always believed humans belonged among the stars. On the 7th day, it appeared. The ship broke through the clouds above Seoul, a massive structure that looked like crystal and metal woven together. It reflected sunlight and rainbow patterns across the city. Crowds gathered in the streets, pointing upward. Some prayed. Others took pictures. Children sat on their parents' shoulders to get a better view. At Space Command, Hana and her team waited on the landing pad. They had prepared a welcome area with examples of human art, music, and science. "What if they look nothing like their transmission?" June asked nervously, adjusting his uniform for the 10th time. "Then we adapt," Hana replied. "That's what humans do best." The ship descended slowly, without noise or visible engines. It hovered above the landing pad, then settled gently on the ground. A seam appeared in its smooth surface. Hana stepped forward as the opening widened. Her hands were steady, but she could feel sweat on her back. A tall figure emerged. Judge Tay stood nearly 7 feet tall, with the same iridescent skin as Ambassador Lee, but with markings that seemed to indicate greater age or status. He wore something like a robe that moved as if alive. "Captain Hana Kim," the alien said, its voice deep and musical. "I am Judge Tay. I will evaluate your species to determine if you are ready to join the greater community of worlds." Hana bowed slightly. "We welcome you to Earth." Judge Tay's eyes, 3 of them, Hana now noticed, studied her carefully. "Many species fail this evaluation," he said. "Most destroy themselves before we arrive. Others prove too dangerous to release into the galaxy." "And what makes a species worthy?" Hana asked. Judge Tay made a gesture with long, six-fingered hands. That is what we are here to discover about you. Behind her, Hana could feel the eyes of her team, of her country, of her entire planet watching. The trial of humanity had begun. The tribunal room was cold. Hana could feel it through her uniform as she sat facing Judge Tay. The alien judge had requested a large open space for the proceedings, so they had cleared out an old airplane hangar. World leaders and scientists sat behind Hana in rows of chairs watching nervously. Judge Tay stood nearly 7 feet tall. His 3 eyes rarely blinked. He moved his 6-fingered hands in the air, and suddenly the walls of the hangar seemed to disappear. Instead, they were surrounded by images of Earth's history. The evidence against humanity is substantial, Judge Tay stated, his voice echoing in the large space. His slender fingers moved again, and the images changed. Hana felt her stomach tighten as she watched. The images showed wars throughout human history, soldiers dying in trenches, cities burning, bombs falling from the sky. Then came pictures of polluted rivers, dead fish floating on the surface. Forests disappeared in time-lapse videos, replaced by concrete. Animals vanished from existence, their images fading away one by one. Your species has repeatedly chosen destruction over harmony, Judge Tay continued, his dark eyes fixed on Hana. The consortium questions whether such a volatile species deserves admission. The images continued. Melting ice caps, rising seas, storms growing larger and more violent. With respect, Judge, Hana countered, rising to her feet. You're seeing only part of our story. Judge Tay made a sound that might have been a laugh. What part am I missing, Captain Kim? The part where humans knew they were damaging their planet but continued anyway. The part where you developed weapons that could destroy your world several times over? No, Hana said firmly. The part where we learned from our mistakes. Judge Tay waved his hand dismissively. All species claim this when facing judgment. Hana took a deep breath. May I present evidence of my own? You may try, Judge Tay said. Hana nodded to Lieutenant June Park, who stepped forward with a small device. She had hoped to save their best examples for later, but she needed to change the mood now. Play the music first, she whispered to June. Moment later, the sound of an orchestra filled the hangar. Bach's Cello Suite No. 1 floated through the air. Judge Tay's head tilted slightly. This was created over 300 years ago, Hana explained, before we had electricity or modern science. Next came images of art, cave paintings, then Greek sculptures, Renaissance paintings, modern photography. Pictures of people helping others, doctors without borders, disaster relief workers, ordinary people pulling strangers from burning buildings. Judge Tay watched without comment. His expression didn't change. We are capable of great beauty and kindness, Hana said. Yes, we make terrible mistakes, but we also— Enough, Judge Tay interrupted. Your pretty sounds and pictures do not erase the damage you have done. He turned to address the room. The tribunal will reconvene tomorrow. I will review more evidence overnight. As people filed out, Hana felt defeated. She had expected the trial to be difficult, but Judge Tay seemed unmoved by anything positive about humanity. Later, in the small office they had given her, Hana sat with her head in her hands. June entered, carrying a tablet. Captain, I've been reading the data they gave us about the consortium, he said, his voice low and urgent. I found something strange. To what is it? Hana asked, looking up. Judge Tay's species, the Proxima. They lost a colony world 20 Earth years ago. A whole settlement, millions of his people. It was on a moon called Nevis. What happened to them? Hana asked. June's face was grim. A climate disaster. An unexpected methane release caused rapid heating. The consortium had limited emergency resources at the time. And? Hana prompted, sensing there was more. And they chose to send those resources to Earth instead, to help with our climate crisis. The floods in Southeast Asia, remember? The consortium was secretly helping our scientists develop the carbon capture technology that worked. Hana stood, up slowly as she understood. Judge Tay's people died because the consortium helped us instead. Yes, June said quietly. He blames us. Hana paced the small room. No wonder he seems to have decided before the trial even began. This isn't really a fair trial at all. What do we do? June asked. Hana stopped pacing and looked out the window. In the distance, she could see Judge Tay's crystalline ship glowing softly in the night. We need to confront him, she said finally. Not about his bias. That would only make him defensive. We need to show him something he doesn't expect from us. What's that? June asked. Hana turned to him with determination in her eyes. Understanding, compassion, for his loss, the very things he thinks we lack. As she said these words, Hana knew tomorrow would be even harder than today, but now at least she understood what they were really fighting against. The second day of the trial began with tension in the air. Hana had not slept well. She kept thinking about Judge Tay's hidden bias against Earth. But she had a plan. The defense calls Dr. Min Kang, Hana announced to the tribunal, her voice clear and strong. The crowd murmured as an elderly man with white hair stood up slowly. Dr. Kang was 87 years old and had won many awards for his work in physics. He walked with a slight limp, using a cane made of dark wood. Judge Tay watched with his three eyes as Dr. Kang made his way to the center of the room. The alien judge looked bored, as if he had already made up his mind. Dr. Kang is one of Earth's most respected scientists, Hana explained. He has something important to show you. Dr. Kang bowed slightly to Judge Tay. Then he took out a small device from his pocket. When he pressed a button, light filled the room, creating a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. The consortium values advancement, Dr. Kang began, his voice soft but clear. This is good. Progress helps all living things. He pressed another button. The map zoomed in to show different solar systems. Each one had a colored marker. Each color shows how fast a species developed space travel after discovering electricity, Dr. Kang explained. Blue is slow, yellow is average, red is fast. Most of the markers were blue or yellow. Only 3 were red. Earth was one of them. Now let's look at medicine, Dr. Kang continued. The map changed to show medical advancement. Again, Earth was marked in red. And now communication technology. Again, Earth showed rapid development. Yet look at our progress compared to other species at our developmental stage, Dr. Kang said, pointing to the data. We are not just fast, we are the fastest in your records. Judge Tay leaned forward slightly. His middle eye narrowed. This data comes from your own records, Dr. Kang added. We did not create it. Dr. Kang continued showing more charts. Each one showed how quickly humans had advanced compared to other species. We make mistakes, Dr. Kang admitted, but we learn faster than any species in your records. Judge Tay shifted in his seat. For the first time, he seemed interested rather than dismissive. Dr. Kang pressed another button. Now the room filled with images of human inventions through time. The wheel, the printing press, antibiotics, computers, space rockets, solar energy. From stone tools to walking on our moon took us only 10,000 years, Dr. Kang said. Most species take 5 times longer according to your data. Judge Tay stood up and walked closer to the display. He moved his 6 fingers, examining the data himself. This is unusual, Judge Tay admitted. Yes, Dr. Kang agreed. We are unusual. Next, Dr. Kang showed examples of human creativity. Cave, paintings from 40,000 years ago, Egyptian pyramids, Greek statues, Chinese poetry, African music, modern films, the room filled with colors, sounds, and images from across human history. Most species focus on either science or art, Dr. Kang explained. We do both constantly, everywhere. Judge Tay walked around the display, studying everything carefully. And finally, Dr. Kang said, "Look at how we solve problems." He showed examples of human problem solving. Simple things like children figuring out puzzles, then more complex Examples like scientists working together to find new vaccines. We try many different approaches, Dr. Kang explained. Some work, some fail, but we keep trying new ways. Judge Tay returned to his seat. He seemed to be thinking deeply. Hana stepped forward to stand beside Dr. Kang. Our very unpredictability is our strength, Hana concluded. We solve problems others can't precisely because we think differently. She took a deep breath before adding, including problems like unexpected climate disasters. Judge Tay's head snapped up, his 3 eyes fixed on Hana. Yes, we know about what happened to your colony on Nevis, Hana said quietly, so only Judge Tay could hear. We are truly sorry for your loss. For the first time, doubt flickered across Judge Tay's features. He sat very still for a long moment. The carbon capture technology that saved millions on Earth, he finally said. It was developed very quickly. Yes, Hana agreed, because that's what humans do when faced with a crisis. We innovate, we adapt, we help each other. And if you had known those resources could have saved Nevis instead? Judge Tay asked, his voice almost a whisper. Hana looked him directly in the eyes. We would have shared the technology with both worlds. That's also what humans do at their best. Judge Tay was silent for a long time. Finally, he stood up. I will consider this evidence, he announced. The tribunal will reconvene tomorrow, Ezimwa. He left the room. Hana noticed something different in his walk. His shoulders seemed less stiff. A small victory, perhaps, but in a trial for humanity's future, every small victory mattered. The third day of the trial started with a feeling of hope. Hana could tell that Judge Tay was beginning to see humans differently. He still looked serious, but his questions were less hostile now. Dr. Min Kang had just finished answering a detailed question about human innovation when a loud alarm sounded. The noise filled the hangar, making everyone cover their ears. Judge Tay pressed something on his wrist. A holographic screen appeared in front of him. His 3 eyes widened. What's happening? Hana asked, standing up quickly. A consortium research station near your moon has been damaged, Judge Tay replied, his voice tight with concern. A solar flare much stronger than predicted has knocked out their main systems. The holographic screen showed a space station. It looked like a large wheel with spokes connecting to a central hub. Red warning lights flashed all over the image. Life support systems are failing, Judge Tay continued. They have emergency power, but it's not enough. Hana moved closer to see the screen better. How many people are on board? 24 researchers from various consortium worlds, Judge Tay answered, including 6 from my homeworld. Another alarm sounded from Judge Tay's wrist device. A voice spoke in an alien language, sounding urgent and afraid. Judge Tay replied in the same language, then looked at Hana. They are requesting immediate evacuation. We can help, Hana said without hesitation. Earth's Space Command has rescue ships ready at all times. Judge Tay shook his head. Our protocols require evacuation, assessment before intervention. We must calculate risks, prepare proper equipment, follow procedures. More distress calls came through, their tone becoming more desperate. Even without understanding the language, Hana could hear the fear. How long will assessment take? She asked. Approximately 7 hours, Judge Tay replied. It is the standard time frame for proper preparation. Hana stared at him in disbelief. Those people have maybe 2 hours before life support fails completely. Judge Tay's middle eye blinked rapidly, a sign of distress. I understand the urgency, but consortium protocols are clear. Rushing into rescue operations without proper assessment often leads to more casualties. Hana turned to Lieutenant June Park, who was already on his phone calling Space Command. How fast can we get a rescue ship ready? She asked him. 30 minutes, June replied. The Eclipse is fueled and ready. It can reach the station in under an hour. Hana nodded. She turned back to Judge Tay. With all due respect, Judge, we're going to help those people, she said firmly. You can continue your assessment, but we're not waiting. Judge Tay stood very tall. Captain Kim, this is not your jurisdiction. The station is consortium property. Interfering without authorization could affect your trial outcome. Hana looked him directly in the eyes. Then find us guilty of caring too much. We're going. She turned and walked quickly toward the exit, June and several other crew members following her. Captain Kim, Judge Tae called after her. This action violates direct orders. Hana kept walking. 45 minutes later, Hana sat in the command chair of the Eclipse, Earth's newest rescue vessel. They were already halfway to the damaged station. Status report, she called out. Station's life support is down to 38%, June reported from his console. Temperature dropping fast, their communications are getting weaker. How many people can we evacuate? Hana asked. 20 at most, replied Dr. Song, who had volunteered to join the rescue mission. But that leaves 4 people behind. We'll make 2 trips if necessary, Hana decided. Suddenly, the ship's sensors beeped. Captain, another vessel is approaching from Earth, the navigator announced. Hana frowned. I didn't authorize another ship. It's not one of ours, June said, studying his screen. It's Judge Tae's personal vessel. The communication system chimed. Judge Tae's face appeared on the main screen. Captain Kim, he said, his voice formal. I cannot officially sanction this rescue mission. Hana prepared to argue, but Judge Tae continued before she could speak. But I will not impede it either, he added. My vessel can carry the remaining 4 researchers. I have medical facilities on board suitable for various species. Hana tried not to show her surprise. Thank you, Judge. We welcome your assistance. Judge. Tae's ship moved alongside the Eclipse as they approached the damaged station. The station looked worse up close. Parts of its outer ring were dark, and some sections appeared to be venting air into space. Life support down to 29%, June reported. We're cutting it close. The docking was difficult. The station's automated systems were offline, forcing them to dock manually. Boarding team ready, Hana announced as she put on her spacesuit. Judge Tae, we'll take the main section if your team can handle the research pods. Agreed, Judge Tae replied. To Hana's surprise, he was also wearing a spacesuit, preparing to board personally. They reached the station with barely an hour of life support remaining. Working together, the human team and Judge Tae's crew moved through the darkened corridors, finding the researchers huddled in emergency shelters. Some were injured. Others were nearly unconscious from the cold. All were grateful to see rescuers. As the last researcher was helped aboard Judge Tae's ship, Hana looked back at the damaged station. The rescue had worked. Against protocol, against orders, against the odds. They had saved every single person. Together they returned to Earth. 24 lives saved because humans couldn't stand by and wait for proper assessment. 2 days. After the rescue, the tribunal reconvened. The mood in the room was different now. People smiled and whispered excitedly as they took their seats. News of the rescue mission had spread around the world. Hana sat at her usual place, feeling tired but proud. Next to her, Lieutenant June Park looked nervous, tapping his fingers on his knee. Do you think it was enough? June whispered. The rescue? Hana shrugged. We didn't do it to impress the judge. We did it because it was right. The room fell silent as Judge Tae entered. He looked different today. He stood straighter and the colors on his skin seemed brighter. He wore formal robes with symbols that glowed softly. In his hand, he carried a tall staff made of the same crystal-like material as his ship. Judge Tae walked to the center of the room and looked around at all the faces watching him. For a long moment, he said nothing. Hana took a deep breath and prepared herself for whatever came next. The purpose of the consortium is to advance life throughout the galaxy. Judge Tae finally began, his voice filling the large room. We seek worlds that can contribute to this great mission. We look for wisdom, technological progress, and peaceful intentions. He paused, looking directly at Hana. During this trial, I observed humans acting precisely as their record suggested they would. Impulsively, emotionally. Hana felt her heart sink. These were the same criticisms from the first day. Breaking protocols, ignoring direct orders, acting without proper assessment. June squeezed Hana's arm gently. She kept her face calm, but inside she was disappointed. After everything they had shown him, Judge Tay still saw only humanity's flaws. But then Judge Tay's expression changed. The skin around his eyes softened. Yet without these traits, 24 consortium citizens would no longer exist. He continued, "The very qualities I criticized proved to be vital." A murmur ran through the crowd. Hana straightened in her chair, hardly daring to hope. Captain Kim and her team demonstrated that humanity's unpredictability, when channeled properly, becomes innovation. Their emotional responses become compassion. Their impulsiveness becomes necessary action. Judge Tay turned to address the entire room. "I have reviewed all evidence presented in this tribunal. I have witnessed Earth's mistakes and achievements. I have seen humans at their worst and at their best." He raised his ceremonial staff, which began to glow with a soft blue light. "I hereby grant humanity probationary membership in the Galactic Consortium, with full review in 50 standard cycles." For a moment there was complete silence as people processed what they had just heard. Then the room erupted in cheers and applause. People hugged each other. Some cried with relief and joy. Hana sat stunned. They had done it. Earth was accepted. Probationary. Membership has conditions. Judge Tay continued when the noise died down. Earth must continue its progress in environmental restoration. Weapon development must focus on defense, not aggression. And Earth must send representatives to the Consortium Council. He looked at Hana. "I recommend Captain Kim as Earth's first representative." More cheers filled the room. June grinned and patted Hana on the back. "Congratulations, Ambassador Kim," he joked. After the formal proceedings ended, people gathered in small groups, talking excitedly about what this meant for Earth's future. Scientists discussed new technologies they might learn. Politicians debated how world governments would need to work together in this new era. Hana stood quietly to one side, watching it all. She felt happy but also overwhelmed by what lay ahead. She noticed Judge Tay walking toward her. He moved gracefully through the crowd, stopping occasionally to answer questions. When he reached her, he gestured toward a quiet corner where they could talk privately. "Captain Kim," he said, his voice lower and more personal than before. "I wish to speak with you before I leave." "Of course, Judge," Hana replied. "I misjudged your people," he admitted, looking slightly uncomfortable. "I came to Earth expecting to find another violent species too dangerous to join the galactic community." Hana nodded, understanding now. "And you had personal reasons to be suspicious of us?" "Yes," Judge Tay said. "The loss of Neva's colony affected my judgment. For that, I apologize." "No apology needed," Hana said gently. "Grief can change how we see things." Judge Tay's skin rippled with colors, which Hana had learned was a sign of strong emotion for his species. "Perhaps the consortium needs humanity as much as humanity needs the stars," he said thoughtfully. "Your different way of thinking, your willingness to take risks, these qualities might help us solve problems we haven't been able to solve in our own way." Hana smiled. "We all have something to learn from each other, Judge. That's what makes a galaxy worth exploring." Judge Tay extended his six-fingered hand. Hana shook it, feeling the strange texture of his skin. "I leave tomorrow," he said, "but I will return in one Earth year to begin your training as a representative." "I'll be ready," Hana promised. As Judge Tay walked away, Hana looked out the window at the night sky. The stars seemed brighter somehow, closer. Not just distant points of light, but places humanity might one day visit. The trial was over. The real journey was just beginning.